Yo, what's good, everybody? It's your boy, the Anime Albert here, coming back at you with part 33 of What If Naruto is Like Minato, otherwise known as Return of the Flash on Wattpad, and just a few things that I want to address really quickly. First and foremost, the link to the story will be in the description, and it'll be under the thing that says story here. If you want to read it for yourself and don't like the way I read it, that's totally fine. You can read it for yourself, read ahead, whatever. Also, the Discord link to my Discord server is in the description as well. The people over there get notified for when I'm uploading prior to the upload being completed. So if you're like one of those people that likes to be first, that's probably pretty helpful. Also, you'll be able to offer me ideas for new what ifs and things of that nature. I'm writing one myself personally. Like, I'm writing my own story. I want it to be very complete, so I'm taking my time with it. But in the future, when I, get around to doing much more and, smaller what ifs that take less time to write, because this one's taking a while, but such like that, you'll be able to offer me ideas and things. And actually, one of the idea that I'm using right now is an idea from a sub in the Discord server. So join the Discord. It's good to be over there. We have a great time over there. It's fun. Also, we are on the road to 600. We're at like 520, something like that. I'm not too certain. I didn't check it in the last like 5 minutes. But we're at like 520. So I'm really looking forward to, hitting 600 because I'm starting something now for 500 that I'm not going to post until at least 600 because I'm working on something right now for you guys. Some new series, something good. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. I know I will enjoy it. But yeah, so we're working on that for you guys. Longer video, potentially, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, so like, comment, subscribe. I respond to all comments when I see them, like all comments when I see them, and I heart all comments when I see them. So yeah, and I really appreciate all the support that the series have been getting and my channel has been getting recently. So yeah, I think that's about it for me. So without further ado, this is your boy, the Anime Ambu, and cue the intro. Alright, let's get right on into it, okay? So, you know why those guys were after me? Not you. More like what's inside of you. Jiraiya answered. Naruto put a hand on his stomach, where Kurama's steel was. Why? At this point, I don't know. All that matters is anyone who wants the power of the Biju that isn't a Jinchuriki isn't up to any good. Jiraiya explained, sighing heavily. Man, my Jiraiya voice is off today. Looks like we'll have to be careful around those guys, don't we, Kurama? Indeed, we can never be too careful, even if your seal is one of the strongest in existence, Kurama replied. Naruto patted his stomach. I doubt anyone has the key to open this seal. Turning to Jiraiya, he said, We should leave, though, don't you think? A nod, and they both gathered their belongings, after which Jiraiya shunswinged them right outside the town. They resumed their walking in silence, each thinking about what happened back there. Jiraiya tried to think about what the Akatsuki would need all the Biju for, while Naruto thought about a possible addition to his Hiraishi, namely how he could summon anything that was marked by him. So what does your teammate look like? The question snapped Jiraiya out of his thoughts as he looked over to the blonde beside him. Seeing his questioning look, Naruto elaborated. If she's your teammate, she obviously must be pretty old, right? Jiraiya snorted in agreement. Well, Tsunade's pretty vain, you see. She's addicted to gambling, but her luck is so bad that she's known as a legendary sucker. And on top of that, she has a habit of taking money from moneylenders and never returning it. So she's almost always on the run. He rummaged in his vest of what she looked like now, while Naruto shook his head in mild disgust. She sounds like a kleptomaniac and a coward. Jiraiya paused in his search and gave a harsh glare. Watch it! This time Naruto didn't back down as he glared back. Why? Is the truth so hard to hear? A kleptomaniac is a person who cannot help but steal from personal use or gain. Seeing as she steals money only to gamble it away, she certainly classifies as one. She's a goddamn coward because she's running away from her problems instead of facing them. In the words of her grandfather, the Shodai Hokage, a shinobi is one who endures. What have you told me? She's a disgrace to the title of shinobi, let alone Hokage. His danger sense rang true as he ducked beneath a punch that would have broken his jaw and caught the left roundhouse to his temple. He matched the glare of his godfather's in ferocity. Reality's hard to accept, isn't it? Naruto could feel waves of malice coming from Jiraiya, and they both locked in a glaring match until Jiraiya dropped his glare and sighed heavily. He started walking again with Naruto following behind him shortly. Silence rang for a few minutes until Naruto broke it. I want to apologize for speaking out the truth. I wasn't going to ask you to. The reply made him look at the older man in surprise, and for the first time Naruto saw sadness on the usually jovial man's face. Everything he said is true in a way. I knew it long before you said it. I just didn't want to say it out loud. He shrugged. But can you blame me? I'm biased, for I'm her former teammate. He smirked softly. Your pragmatism astounds me, Naruto. Then again, given the way you've lived, I should have expected that. Naruto shrugged, putting his hands in his pockets. I have no other option but to face whatever was in front of me. There was no simple way I was going to give up on my dream that I knew I could accomplish. Jiraiya nodded as he finally found the picture. Here's your answer to your earlier question. Naruto took the picture and felt his eyes bulge out. Oh my lord, there's no way she's above 50 and this hot. He gasped at the obviously that was a curse word right there, I had to fill it in. 50 and this hot. He gasped at the picture, dragging his eyes back to Jiraiya's knowing smirk. This has to be Genjutsu, right? Jiraiya nodded. Permanent one, I have to point out. She is on the run after all. Naruto handed the picture back. So where do you think she is? I don't know. The response earned him a look of deadpan from his godson. Feeling stupid, he hurriedly explained. We have to go to the next town to pick up more information. After that, I'll train you like I promised. Naruto folded his arms. Can I start the jutsu training at least? Jiraiya thought about it. The jutsu did have 3 steps to be completed and none of them were easy. He supposed it wouldn't be too bad to give Naruto a head start. Fine. He took out a water balloon from his backpack. We're gonna use these. Naruto gave a wary look to the man. You're not making fun of me, right? This is a real jutsu. Jiraiya bonked him on the head. Baka! The real jutsu comes after you master the basics. Now watch closely. Naruto carefully observed what was Jiraiya doing. His senses active. He didn't sense anything, at least not in the beginning, but his eyes narrowed as the balloon began poking outwards in several directions at the same time. Making it burst in the man's hand, Jiraiya smirked at the thoughtful look on his apprentice's face. No doubt he was trying to figure out what happened. No, you try. He tossed a water balloon at Naruto, who held it thoughtfully. The next 15 minutes were very peaceful for Jiraiya, as he began thinking on how to convince Tsunade to return to Konoha, willingly, without blackmail. A bit harder than it sounded, but he was confident he could find a way. After all, he had insurance in the name of Uzumaki Naruto, who, got it. The words so nonchalantly spoken brought Jiraiya out of his thought. Wide-eyed, he turned to Naruto, still holding the balloon, intact. His face quickly gave way to annoyance. How exactly have you got it? Naruto looked up from the balloon and then said in an annoyed face, What? I said I got how you popped the balloon. Not that I popped it already. Jiraiya folded his arms. Tell me. If you insist. You rotated the chakra in your palm in multiple directions. The high number of rotations of water happened at the same time, increasing the pressure inside the balloon to the point that it became too much and popped. Jiraiya simply stared at Naruto in disbelief. In only 15 minutes, the boy had figured out the first step of the jutsu and explained it as if he was already answering a question like in class. But the theory by itself wasn't enough. Alright, your theory's correct, but will you be able to apply it? Now that you know. Naruto smirked. Nothing's impossible, Ero-Sennin. I may haven't told you yet, but I don't have a chakra network, which means I have a direct control on my chakra instead of controlling it through chakra coils. Whatever you can do, I can do better. The water started swirling in multiple directions, just like Jiraiya's in the balloon, until it finally popped after 5 seconds. Naruto held out a hand to the gasping Jiraiya. Can I have some more? He spent the next hour popping water balloons with his other hand and sometimes both hands. It was fun and it kept him entertained, not to mention it was good training. After popping the balloons, he focused on how quickly he could pop them. He managed to get the time down to 1 second. Making him grin, he finally looked at Jiraiya. Alright, what's next? Turns out it was a rubber ball, and it was definitely harder to pop than the water balloon, considering there was only air inside and the rubber was thicker than a balloon. The theory of the first step certainly didn't work out for the second step. Naruto carefully kept his face free of emotions, for he absolutely refused to give the smirking sage the satisfaction of knowing just how frustrated he was. His genius was baffled to a previously unreached degree. They passed and stopped in several towns over the course of the next few days. One time, Jiraiya tried to con him for his money so he could visit a brothel. Flashback. Oh, that's what that word was. Sorry, I had to scroll back up. Naruto and Jiraiya smiled as they looked over the bustling crowd in the marketplace. Looks like a festival's going on, doesn't it? It's a pretty famous one if I remember correctly. Naruto stretched out and bounced the rubber ball in his hands. He still hadn't popped it, to his immense frustration. Then would you mind if I look around a bit? Jiraiya waved his hand. Go on, kid. Naruto smiled and took out his wallet. He long suspected that the frog wallet was given to him by Jiraiya, but he figured the man would get flustered if he called him out on it. The wallet was full of money and Jiraiya was quick to spot it. Oh, it looks like you're rich! Naruto internally smirked. The man had no idea just how rich he was, without counting the inheritance from both of his hands. However, he watched in bewilderment as the wallet suddenly disappeared from his hands. He gave a quizzical look to Jiraiya, put the wallet in his robes. What the hell, Rasengan? Don't worry, Naruto. I'll watch over it for you. After all, you're just looking around, aren't you? See you at the village gates in the evening, and take care of my stuff while you're at it. Naruto caught the bag and watched curiously as the man strutted away. He smirked as he slung the bag on and took out his real one. I wonder how long it's going to take him to realize that there's just paper money in there. Flashback ends. Turns out Jiraiya didn't find out until he was finished his time at the brothel. When it came to pay, and it was then he realized that the money that he was holding wasn't real money, it was just paper. He had to be from his own pocket, to his immense regret. Naruto watched in amusement as Jiraiya proceeded to glare at him for the next 3 days. He never took his wallet again, though. However, it was during his usual bar rounds on which he was able to finally pin Tsunade down. Turns out, Tanzaku Town is having a big festival. The town was already a tourist place with its hot springs, theaters, and not to mention casinos. So it confused Naruto that they started moving even slower than before. Shouldn't we hurry and catch her in Tanzaku before she gets away? Jiraiya grinned at Naruto. If we do that, she would know for sure that we're here and looking for her. She'll bolt. We can't spook her just yet, so we'll get there a couple days after her and make it look like we just happened to run into each other, see? Naruto shook his head. No, but I'm sure I will in some time. Putting Tsunade aside, how's the rubber ball coming? It's been 19 days. Naruto released a breath. I have a question for you instead. Jiraiya frowned. Okay, shoot. What am I ultimately trying to achieve? Jiraiya chuckled with a grin. I was wondering when you'd ask that. Come on, let's go over to that tree over there. He led Naruto to the tree, to a sizable tree on the other side of the road. Watch my hand, alright? He requested it, left hand held up. Naruto watched amazed as chakra swirled and thickened, forming a swirling spherical sphere. Yes, spherical sphere. That is the word that was chosen. He could feel the slightest sensation of wind coming from the spinning, visible ball of chakra. Jiraiya's hand reared back, and then with great force he thrust it into the tree's trunk. Naruto was disappointed to see that when the jutsu dispelled, there was only a small but deep gash in the tree trunk. That's it? Jiraiya, as if he read his thoughts, smirked and pointed to the tree. Look behind it. Naruto moved around to view the back of the tree and whistled at the sight. The back of the tree had completely exploded outwards. It was a wonder that the tree was still standing. Okay, that is very impressive. He tapped the bark of the tree lightly and watched with an eyebrow raised as the tree completely fell. He turned to Jiraiya in excitement. Who made it? The wickedly grinning sage said, Your father, of course. Naruto smiled softly in pride, still admiring the after effects of the jutsu. Ah, Tosan, huh? I guess I shouldn't be amazed. Tosan was pretty amazing after all. Pretty amazing doesn't even cover it, but it took him almost 3 years to create this. I wonder how long it will take you to master. Jiraiya challenged. Naruto smirked. Now that I know what to do now, no time at all. And with that, he went to the ball with renewed vigor. Alright, sorry about that, guys. The video got cut out, and now I'm having to re-record this. Actually, let me check to make sure I'm not. Okay, good. Alright, let's continue. 1 hour later, he popped the ball. He finally figured out the trick behind the second step. The second step involved power. He had to concentrate the volume and density of the chakra inside the ball, increasing the pressure so much that the ball burst. It took him a fair amount of concentration to do it, but once he had the gist of how he had to do it, he began popping the remaining balls just like the water balloons, with the other hand and with both hands together. The result was that his hands started trembling and uncontrollably from the overuse of chakra. Naruto had almost panicked had Jiraiya not explained to him that he probably hadn't used his chakra from his hands before in this way. So it was a process of getting used to. He had to grow past the pain threshold if he was to perfect a Rasengan. The next day they arrived in Tanzaku town. Jiraiya told him that he would explain the third and last step of the jutsu once they were in their hotel. For the present, They were just gonna enjoy the sights. When Naruto suddenly asked an unusual question, Edo Sennin, how good are you at gambling? Jiraiya blinked at the random question, but answered nonetheless. I'm not particularly bad at it if that's what you're asking. Naruto nodded. Good, then. He was cut off when people started running in the opposite direction than the way they were facing. He muttered with narrow eyes as he sensed an influx of chakra. What the hell? Jiraiya suddenly took off, forcing Naruto to follow him. Naruto followed as well, both heading towards the massive source of chakra, to the castle on top of the hill. Arriving there, they gasped at the level of destruction. Walls were crumbling to dust and debris, and holes and gashes in the ground leading to the two to believe either someone was murdered or there was a massive battle. Looks like our snake friend met up with Tsunade, Jiraiya surmised, looking around the scene. Orochimaru. Naruto muttered, looking around for some sort of clue. It seemed reasonable as he had burnt off his hands, but why didn't he just sprout another body from his mouth instead of looking for Tsunade was beyond Naruto. Let's give her some time to cool off, Naruto. The third step of the Rasengan is combining the first two. See you around. And then he was gone in a swirl of leaves, and Naruto glared at the spot before sighing. I guess I should have expected that. Orochimaru-sama, I still don't understand why we came here to talk to Tsunade. You could have simply sprouted a new body to heal them. Kabuto commented. Sorry, there's a trade. As he sat by his master, Orochimaru smiled with a wicked glint in his eyes as he looked down at his completely burnt hands. It was only because of the high pain tolerance he had built over the years that he didn't scream. There are many things you have yet to learn, Kabuto. I did not shred my skin because Tsunade has a jutsu that I need. A jutsu? Golden slitted eyes twinkled dangerously. Yes, one that can heal any injury. One that has the potential to bring people back from the dead. Alright, Naruto spent the rest of the day until evening in their hotel room, trying to combine the two steps. He made a startling and very pleasant discovery that it was not very difficult like the previous step. Here he was now, panting lightly as he gazed with pride at the ball of spinning chakra between his hands. He had done it. He'd actually done it. He could feel the power in the Rasengan. It was enough to destroy someone's guts in a matter of seconds. He released the hold on his chakra, causing the Rasengan to dissipate. He leaned back against a tree, feeling a great sense of accomplishment and satisfaction. It had taken him a total of 20 days to learn his father's most prized jutsu. Here, wait, let me check this. Oh, whoa. 3 minutes in. Yeah, we're going to have to put a sticker over there. Alright. His father's most prized jutsu. Finally, now I can begin to master it. He breathed out. Oh, I didn't even check what I was looking for. Yeah, we're going to have to put a sticker over there. Don't mind what I'm saying. Sorry. It's fine. Alright, let's go. Finally, now I can begin to master it. He breathed out. He frowned as he thought of his father. The man was legendary, known for his speed and Rasengan. It must take him only an instant to form it with one hand. Right, now Naruto needed 10 seconds in both hands to form it. Ah, man, this is going to take a while. He trained for another hour and managed to bring the time down to 3 seconds. A big improvement, but still done with 2 hands. He figured that if he learned to instantly form it with 2 hands, doing it right with 1 hand might become easier. Of course, at one point, the idea of using shadow clones to hasten the process had come to mind, but was immediately discarded. He felt that his father had taken 3 years to create the jutsu and mastered it all by himself. It would be cheap and insulting to his memory if he used an easy way out. He began to try again when he heard a voice. That was very good, Naruto. Naruto looked up to see Jiraiya sitting on the windowsill, grinning. He smirked. Thanks. Took me the whole day to get where I am. Jiraiya came in and ruffled his hair. You managed to master the Rasengan in 20 days. That's ridiculous, kid. And all kinds of absurd. Even I took 7 months to learn it. You really are a genius, kid. Naruto frowned and shook his head. Learn, not master, Edo Sennin. Master is when I'm able to form it with 1 hand in an instant. He emphasized by snapping his fingers. Jiraiya stared at him and asked, You're a perfectionist when it comes to jutsu, aren't you? Naruto shrugged and got up. I have to make sure I don't waste chakra while using it. He put on his jacket and zipped it up. While tying his sash around his forehead, he turned to a bewildered Jiraiya. What are you doing? Naruto paused momentarily. I think we've given enough time for Tsunade to cool down, haven't we? Jiraiya's expression turned into one that told Naruto he'd actually forgotten what they came here to do. Yeah, let's go. Alright, So that's gonna be the end of this. That's gonna be the end of this episode, because this next scene is just gambling. They're just gambling. We don't promote gambling over here. Also, because it's not important to the story and it doesn't do anything. And because I've read it once, and I'm not gonna read it again. It's a long scene. It's just them gambling, and I can surmise it for you. I mean, basically, they walk into the gambling den. The guy tries to trick them for some information. Then Naruto helps Jiraiya out because Jiraiya was gonna get conned and all that jazz. It's really just a gambling scene, so there's no need for it in the video. So I'm not gonna put it in the video. I hope you enjoyed this part. The next part should be longer. This part was supposed to be longer, and I apologize for the short part. However, it's because I recorded a very long video for this part, and 90% of it got cut. Like we only kept like 10 or 11 minutes of the original video out of like a 30-40 minute video. And I'm not going to re-record that video because that was long. And also, half of the video wasn't important. Half of it was like the gambling scene. Like 20 minutes of it was a gambling scene. So there's no need for it anyways. But I'm sorry for the shorter episode. If you want me to read it, I'll read it next episode. But it really doesn't matter to the story. I promise you, I've read it once. But yeah, so I apologize for that. I apologize for the shorter episode for this. But be on the lookout for another part of a different series today. I will be dropping the next part of the Obito series this afternoon. So look out for that. I'm going to record it right after I'm done uploading this one. So yeah, look out for that. Get excited, And yeah, I think that's about it for me. Story link in the description. Discord link in the description. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe. I respond to all comments, heart all comments, like all comments. And this is your boy, the Anime Ambu, and I am out. Deuces.